maybe I would like to think about the internet, or, you know, to approach it in this context as a question of consistency. You know, like, what is the consistency of the internet? What is the plasticity of the internet? And maybe even, you know, does the internet has a viscosity? When it comes to these subterranean cables, I've also encountered difficulties because some of the interiors of the cables are sensitive material, confidential designs, etc. And they also have a kind of monetary value, a recycle value. The first time I encountered a subterranean cable, you know, that I was able to hold one in my hand, was when they were digging up the telephone cables on the street in Berlin, where I live. And they were kind of updating the system. And like so many other situations, then I went into kind of a process of negotiations with Deutsche Telekom. And what came out of that conversation was actually the fact that they cut me a piece, but they cut me such a small slice that it also enabled me to look at the cable in such a way, like this kind of domestic, slightly anachronistic object that somehow enabled a kind of conflation of you know, your experience of the internet as being something linear, something kind of lossless, fluid, with something incredibly physical, dirty, and I think, I mean, most of my works, I should say, this is not a kind of approach that this installation doesn't exist in isolation, let's say. I think my relationship to the found object has always been a kind of willingness to work in a syntax of, like in a sentence, you know, there's a kind of syntax between words that create a meaning. And I think that's how I'd also like to think of sculptural objects in a kind of system of relations, but also a system of plasticity and materiality. Yeah.